All right, welcome to day one of the new unit. So we are in the green unit 8B packet. Notice the first few nights here, you're going to be working on linear versus exponential only. On Wednesday, that's going to be your only work, so it's actually going to be due on Thursday before the start of class, the linear versus exponential assignment. You should be working on it for homework tonight, homework for tomorrow, and then on Thursday before class, it should be turned in. So in tomorrow's video, I'll give a little synopsis of things to make sure you include that are part of what you will be graded on it. So in today's class, what we're going to do is we're going to collect most of our data for our M&M experiments. So if you flip to page 1 in your packets, there's 2 experiments that we have. And our goal today is to do this part for experiment 1. And then I don't have it on this slide, but the same first 2 paragraphs for experiment 2 as well. So up to where it says create the graph for your data. So those 2 things you want to be doing today. So everyone had in their envelopes a baggie full of M&Ms. You are going to need a cup and a plate. Probably 2 cups and a plate. So if you need to pause the video, go get 2 cups and a plate so that you'll be able to do that and then start the video back up. So everyone is going to begin in experiment 1 with 3 M&Ms in their cup. On a separate sheet of paper, you're going to have to make a t-table. So if you need to pause the video for a second to take out a separate sheet of paper, and you'll need this for experiment 1, experiment 2, you're going to need almost a full sheet. So don't just put it somewhere in the packet, actually get a separate sheet of paper. So once you have that separate sheet of paper, I want you to label experiment 1 and experiment 2. And you're going to create a t-table for each of those. So in the X column, we're going to label it trial and then M&Ms. And you'll do that for experiment 2 as well. So trial and M&Ms. So for trial number 0, the amount you're going to start with, everyone is going to start with 3 M&Ms. So I'm going to show you a hypothetical scenario. Everyone's going to have 0, 3 in their table, but what I write for the rest of these, I don't want you to write. You're going to get whatever you get when you actually collect your data. So you're going to put your 3 M&Ms in a cup. You're going to shake them. You're going to dump them out on your plate. So 3 M&Ms come out. Let's say 1 M is up. What that tells you is from your cup of spare M&Ms, you want to add 1 additional. So for trial 1, we're going to add 1 M&M to that, so we're going to need 4. So you're going to take the 3 M&Ms that you had dumped out, put them back in your dumping cup, and then in your spare cup, grab 1 additional M&M and put it in. So now your cup should have 4 M&Ms in it. So you're going to take those 4 M&Ms, you're going to dump them out and see how many M's come up. Well, this time, let's say hypothetically we had 2. So again, in your table, you should not be writing what I'm writing in black. You're going to do that for your own experiment. Well, there's 2 M's, so now in trial 2, I would write 6. So in my dumping cup, I'm going to take the 4 M&Ms I had just dumped out, and I'm now going to add 2 additional M&Ms so that there are 6 total. So now in my cup, I will have 6 M&Ms that I'm going to dump out. I'll dump them out on the plate. Maybe this time 4 M's come up. So in my table in trial 3, I'm now going to have 10 because there was 4 new. So in my dumping cup, I'm going to put those M&Ms in the dumping cup and 4 additional M&Ms because 4 of them had M's. So hopefully after that you get the idea, and you're going to keep going until one of two things occur. Either you get to trial 10, you can stop at trial 10, or if you run out of M&Ms, just stop it once you run out of M&Ms. Okay, so one of those two things. So go to trial 10 or when you run out of M&Ms. So that's one set of data you're going to collect. Now the other set of data you're going to collect for experiment 2. If you look on the bottom of page 1 for experiment 2 says you're going to dump out the M&Ms and you're going to start with a full cupful this time. So you're going to put all the M&Ms I gave you in a cup, but when you put them in, you need to count them out. And that's what you're going to have at trial 0. So everyone's trial 0 is going to be different because everyone has a different number of M&Ms. Let's say that I had like 110 when I counted mine out. Okay, and again, you should not be writing 110 in your table. You've got to count it out and see what you have for yours. So after you count those out, the difference is now we're going to dump them out and we're going to remove all the M's. So let's say I dump out all 110. Any ones that have M's, you're going to take away. And then whatever's left is what you'll put for trial 1. So let's say hypothetically I had like 52 of them that went away. Well, then now I would have 58 that are left. So your amount that you're putting in the table should be the amount that are left that you are dumping. So I'm going to put those 58 now back in my dumping cup. I'll shake it up, I'll dump them all out. Whichever ones have M's, I'm going to take away, and however many are left, I'm going to then put in my table. Let's say that time maybe 30 of them had M's, so I'm down to 28 now. So you see, it's going to get pretty quickly, it's going to get smaller. So for this one, you are going to keep going until you get down to 0 M&Ms here. Now, when you get down to 4 or 5 M&Ms left, look at those 4 or 5 M&Ms and make sure there's an M on them. Often there's ones that are defective and don't have an M, and that's why the M's not coming up. So when you get to 4 or 5 M&Ms left, if you notice any of them don't have M's, swap them out for ones that do have M's. So you're going to do as many trials as it takes to eventually get to 0. Once you've done your 2 t-tables and collected that data, you're then going to, in the graph paper that was in your folder that I gave you, in that envelope, there's 2 pieces of graph paper. You're going to graph each of these on one of the graph papers. When you graph them, we should have our trials on the x-axis and our M&Ms on the y-axis. On the y-axis, you're going to have to scale it so you can get up to whatever your total is. So go by 5s, 10s, whatever you need to make sure you can fit everything. And after you plot it, you can't have partial M&Ms or trials, so we should not be connecting our lines at all. It should just be a scatter plot. So to review your task for this period, use your M&Ms, get 2 cups. You have a dumping cup, you have a spare cup. In experiment 1, start with 3 M&Ms in a cup, dump them out. However many M's come up, you'll add that many for the next dumping and put that number in your table. So we added 1, so we had 4. Then we added 2, so we had 6. We added 4, so we had 10, and so on. You're going till you have 10 trials or you run out of M&Ms. Experiment 2, count how many are in your cup altogether, dump them out, and now take the M's away. Each time your table should be the number that are left that were not taken away. Keep going until you get to 0. You're going to graph each of those on a separate sheet of graph paper from your envelope that I gave you. And then that's your task for today to get to that point. In tomorrow's class, you'll be looking at the questions. So you can go ahead, get going. on that task for today.